Hi everyone, so I'm back again today with another chatty video. Today I'm talking you through my top 5 favourite drugstore foundations, and I know last month, I think it was, I done a version with concealers. A lot of you wanted me to do a foundation one, so that's what I'm doing today because, you know, drugstore foundations just dominate my foundation drawer. I think I own maybe 2 or 3 high-end ones, but yeah, I'm talking you through my favourites today, and the first one I'm going to start with is this one here. It's the Rimmel Matte Perfection foundation, and this is in the shade 200 Soft Beige. There's 2 lighter shades that I'm aware of. I know I usually pick up Ivory or light Porcelain. Rimmel also do one in similar packaging with a red lid. I'm not really keen on that. I like this one, the one with the blue lid. This should have a blue lid, but I lost it. On the packaging front, it comes in a glass bottle, so not the most convenient, especially not for travelling anyway. It's a little bit risky. You've got a pump on the top here. I pump out maybe 2 or 3 pumps of the foundation, and that does my whole face and neck. What I do like about this foundation is it's not very like fluid. It's not really runny and liquidy. It's a little bit thicker, but despite that, it still blends really easily over the skin. It gives about a medium coverage. You can build it up to full coverage though, which I do from time to time. I just apply the foundation in a couple of light layers, then if I want that full coverage look. It's around, I think, the 10.50 mark, and it comes in a wide range of shades, and that was actually the first thing I noticed about this foundation. I think it comes in 12 shades, but you've got ones that are quite light all the way up to really deep dark shades that will suit those darker complexions, and then you've got, you know, everything in between. So yeah, it's a really good buy. The next foundation that I've got here is the Revlon Colorstay foundation, and I just cannot be without it. I have to have at least a couple of backups in my drawer just in case. It's one that you've probably seen me talk about, or almost definitely seen me talk about before. I included it in my empties video. But yeah, it's a gorgeous foundation, and it's one that I used to use in my kit when I used to freelance, and it suited those that wanted a full coverage look to their skin. What I really like about this foundation is that it comes in 2 different formulas, one to suit normal to dry skin and one to suit oily to combination skin. So there's a foundation to suit your skin's needs. It applies really well, applies really nicely, it blends into the skin very easily despite being full coverage. You know, it's not very kind of thick, it's easy to spread around the face. It lasts all day, it's matte. The only thing that I'm not all that keen on with this foundation is the packaging. Once you twist off the lid, you know, you have to pour the foundation out, which isn't ideal because it's very easy to pour out too much, and then it can be hard to get it back into the bottle. So wastage can happen very easily. The other thing that I really like, again, like with the Rimmel one, it comes in a wide range of shades that'll suit pale skin all the way up to the darker complexion. So these are just ones that I would have had in my kit back from when I used to freelance. But yeah, so I use 110 Ivory when I'm pale. I think it's pretty sure that's the number. And then I use this one here, 300 Golden Beige, when I'm tanned. It's, I think, around $18.99, so on the higher end of the drugstore, but I usually pick it up on 3 for 2 in Boots, and that helps take the sting out of it a little. But yeah, highly recommend if you like a full coverage matte finish to your makeup. So the next foundation is one that I've talked about previously. I've touched on it very briefly in my empties video, and like the Colorstay foundation, it's one that I've been using for years and years, and the foundation is the Max Factor Miracle Touch Liquid Illusion foundation, and I use the shade Golden 75. So I use this solely as my going out foundation. If I'm going on a night out, I pick up this shade because obviously I'd be wearing tan. I'm not this tanned normally, but the only thing that I don't like about this foundation is that unlike the other 2 I've discussed, you don't have as big of a shade range, so you don't have as much choice, unfortunately. I think there's 6 shades available, and I know for definite there isn't one to suit very pale skin, which is a pity because it's a really nice foundation. When you twist off the cap, it obviously reveals the foundation inside, and then on the cap end you can open up that and it reveals a sponge inside. I don't really use a sponge. If I'm applying this foundation, I'll use a painter style foundation brush. It's a cream foundation, so I just find it applies really well with that type of a brush, and I quite literally paint it onto the skin. It gives a nice full coverage look. Well, I say it gives a medium coverage and I build it up to a full coverage. I apply a couple of light layers. Finish wise, it's a dewy finish. Now, when I think of it, I said that the Rimmel Match Perfection foundation gives a kind of dewy radiant finish, or did I? I can't really remember. That's the finish it gives. But so the Rimmel one, if I compare this one to the Rimmel in terms of finish, like I would have said the Rimmel gives a dewy finish, but compared to this, it gives more of a satin finish, and this is a dewy finish, so this is going to really give you a glow, which I actually don't like. I powder the living bejesus out of my skin just to take down that, you know, glow. I prefer a matte appearance, but yeah, it's one that lasts really well on the skin. You know, that's why I wear it for a night out. I know that it's not going to budge. It's, again, in the pricier end of the drugstore, like the Colorstay one, and I think it's about €18, but again, boots 3 for 2. I'm really reminiscing here with this next foundation. It's one that I used all through school, and it's the Loreal Infallible 24-hour wear foundation. This used to be in a kind of wider glass bottle, and it had a red pump with a clear lid on top. Now this, I've lost the lid again. I'm so sorry. I don't know what it is with me and foundation lids. I just can't keep them on the bottle. I don't know where they end up. But yeah, despite the packaging being different, I don't think the formula is any different. Not that I've noticed anyway. I'm pretty sure it's the same foundation that I used to use in school. I was somebody that wore makeup to school. I wore foundation, powder, blush, and then a smoky eye. I know, every day, but you know, what can you do? The finish of this foundation gives kind of, it's a medium coverage foundation, and I'd say it gives like a demi matte finish. You have a slight bit of radiance to the skin, but kind of mostly matte, which is really nice. The only thing I find with this foundation is that it oxidizes. The shade I've got here is called Porcelain, and I think back in the day it used to be called Rose Porcelain. There was Rose Porcelain, and then the next one up was Vanilla. But yeah, so the only thing with this is it oxidizes, and if you're pale like me, you'll know that struggle when a foundation oxidizes. It goes, pale foundations go kind of like an orangey colour, and when I was in school I didn't use a brush, not in like the earlier years in school. I was using my hands, and if I happened to miss a spot or didn't blend it in very well, you would see that little bit of a kind of orange tint. But yeah, that's the only downside to this foundation. Other than that, it's really lovely, and I actually find it photographs really well, which is great in today's world. But yeah, it's, I think, around $13.99. As far as the shades go, I think there could be maybe 6 to 8 shades, and I haven't seen ones to suit darker complexions. Now maybe that's just here in Ireland with the stock that we have. You know, there could be more shades available in other countries. I'm not too sure. I know the States always gets, you know, more of a range than we do here. But yeah, really, really nice. $13.99 or so, and well worth the money. This last foundation that I have is actually relatively new to me, as in I got it maybe a couple of weeks ago, and it's already a firm favourite, and it is the Wet n Wild Photofocus foundation, and I've got the shade Soft Ivory. This foundation, my god, I went to so many different pharmacies looking for it in different counties. I went through Dublin, I done Wexford, I done Wicklow, and I just couldn't get it. It came out as limited edition here in Ireland, and it was just like gold dust. You just couldn't get your hands on it. But since the month of June, I think it's been made permanent. I got it while I was at a Wet n Wild event, and I was just overjoyed. I had a feeling that I would really like this foundation, just because I don't know if anybody's tried the Wet n Wild Coverall foundation. I loved that foundation, and I'm probably one of the very few that did like it. Anybody that I know that's tried it hated it. I loved it, and then I heard everybody loved this foundation, so I thought, right, well, if that's something to go by, I'm going to be ecstatic about this foundation. And yeah, that's exactly how I feel about it. Packaging wise, you know, you've got the little kind of glass bottle, the top twists off, and you've got a little paddle. So, you know, unlike the Revlon Colorstay foundation, at least you've got like a little applicator to scoop out the product with, bit like it's less messy, and I actually really like the little paddle. What else can I say about it? Yeah, so at first I remember thinking when I lifted up the product, I remember being like, oh my god, it's very fluid, very watery, and I kind of panicked a little, but it didn't kind of apply that way on the skin. It actually took to the skin really well because of its consistency. I found it blended really well. It gives, I'm gonna say, a satin finish to the skin, and it's not a full coverage foundation. That's a definite. You can't get a full coverage look with this foundation. A medium coverage definitely, and I don't mind. I like a full coverage, but I can build up the coverage in the areas that I want to have full coverage in with a concealer, so it's grand. I know this foundation, I think, was tested under 7 different lights or something like that. Hold on, I think I have the press release here. Yeah, so it was tested under 7 different lighting conditions. So, you know, if you're looking for a foundation that's going to work really well with flash photography, this is the one to buy. It's $6.95, I'm pretty sure, and if you can get your hands on it, do. It's what I'm wearing today, and I think it's really, really nice on the skin. And the pale shade, you know, it's actually quite pale. I know you've got, I think, around 20 shades available in the States. I'm not sure how many we've got here because I haven't actually seen it on a stand, unfortunately, but like I said, from the month of June it was been rolled out to pharmacies. But yeah, so they're my picks. That's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. If you have any more requests, let me know, and I'll chat to you all soon.